The future of the sport is about to change radically, and today we're going to dive into the transformations that are to come in 2026. With new technical and engine regulations, next season promises to redefine the grid hierarchy and bring unprecedented challenges for teams and drivers. Adrian Newey, one of F1's greatest geniuses, has already warned, engines could be the decisive factor in this new era. But what does this mean for the sport? What risks and opportunities do these changes bring? And how might they impact the spectacle we love so much? We'll explore all this and much more in this video. Newey says engines could define F1 2026. Big chance. Next season will feature new technical and power unit regulations. Legendary designer believes one manufacturer could get well ahead of the others. The 2026 season will be the first with changes to both the technical and engine regulations, and there is a big chance that the latter could be crucial in the championship battle. That's the opinion of Adrian Newey, a highly influential designer with 13 Constructors' Championships to his name, including all 6 in Red Bull Racing's history. Recently signed by Aston Martin, the Englishman spoke about the new rules and believes the power units will add a new dimension to the championship fight. There's a big chance it could be a power unit formula at the start. I can't recall another time in Formula One when both the chassis and engine regulations changed simultaneously, and in this case, the chassis regulations were written to, let's say, try to compensate for the power unit regulations. It's an extra dimension, said Newey in an interview with Auto Sport UND Motor. One of the examples Newey cited during the interview was Mercedes. Previously a midfield team, Mercedes became a powerhouse in 2014 when new engine regulations were introduced. At the time, in addition to the combustion engine, cars gained an energy recovery system consisting of 2 motors and a battery. The German team was the one that best capitalized on the changes and, as a result, won 8 consecutive Constructors' Championships between 2014 and 2021. Newey, who will begin working with Aston Martin on March 1st, admitted he is not yet fully up to speed with all the details of the 2026 regulations, but stated that if a team optimizes performance related to combustion engines, they could gain a significant advantage for a long time. There's a chance that one manufacturer could get well ahead, and it becomes a power unit-dominated regulation, at least at the start. There's a possibility that if it's on the combustion engine side, someone could create a dominant engine for the entire duration of this formula because the way the regulations are written, it's very difficult for those behind to catch up, he added. The changes to the 2026 engine regulations include technical, sporting, and financial rules, and were developed with the goal of increasing sustainability and attracting more manufacturers. The power units will have performance similar to the current ones, with high-revving, high-power internal combustion V6 engines, avoiding excessive performance differentiation to improve racing conditions. Meanwhile, the technical regulations bring many changes. The most significant is the removal of DRS, drag reduction system. In its place, a manual overtake mode will be introduced, similar to systems used in categories like IndyCar, Formula E, and Stock Car Brazil. With this, drivers will be able to press a button to increase the car's power. The expectation is that drivers will gain more autonomy in managing the car, which will feature movable front wings, in addition to the rear wing, although the movable wing system will be discontinued. The front wings will consist of 2 flaps and will be narrower than the current ones. The rear wings will have 3 elements and will be simplified. Due to the changes announced for 2026, some brands outside the current grid have already announced their entry into the sport. The most impactful announcement came from GM/Cadillac, which will become the 11th team in F1 as early as next year. In addition to the American team, Sauber is undergoing a transition and will be renamed Audi. Next year, the German manufacturer will produce its own engine. Ford is also returning to the elite of European motorsport and will supply power units to Red Bull Racing and RB. Analysis: the 2026 changes and the impact of engines on the future of F1. The 2026 season promises to be a milestone in Formula One history, with radical changes to both technical regulations and power units. The opinion of Adrian Newey, one of the greatest designers in the category, reinforces the idea that engines will be the decisive factor in the championship battle at the start of this new era. His analysis not only highlights the complexity of the changes, but also points to the potential dominance of a team or manufacturer, something we've already seen with Mercedes in 2014, the risk of a power unit formula. Newey emphasized that there is a big chance F1 could become a power unit formula at the start of the 2026 cycle. This is because, for the first time, changes to both chassis and engine regulations are being implemented simultaneously, with the former being adjusted to compensate for the latter. This interdependence adds an extra layer of complexity, where engine performance could become the absolute differentiator. The 2014 experience, when Mercedes dominated the category after the introduction of hybrid V6 engines, serves as a warning. The German team not only understood the new rules better, but also developed a superior power unit, which resulted in 8 consecutive Constructors' Championships. Newey suggests that if a manufacturer gets the combination of the combustion engine and energy recovery systems right, they could establish an advantage that will be hard to overcome: sustainability and competitive balance. The new rules for 2026 aim to increase sustainability and attract more manufacturers, such as GM/Cadillac, Audi, and Ford. However, the challenge will be maintaining competitive balance. The FIA and Liberty Media are working to prevent a team from dominating overwhelmingly, as happened with Mercedes in the past. The decision to maintain high-power V6 engines while focusing on reducing performance gaps between units is a step in that direction. However, Newey warns that if a team manages to optimize the combustion engine under the new rules, they could create a lasting advantage. This is because the current rules make it difficult for those behind to catch up, especially in a scenario where engine development is extremely expensive and complex. Technical changes, more autonomy for drivers. In addition to engine changes, the 2026 technical regulations bring significant innovations. The removal of DRS and the introduction of a manual overtake mode promise to give drivers more control, potentially making races more strategic and unpredictable. The new movable front wings and simplified rear wings should also alter car aerodynamics, possibly improving the ability to follow other cars and facilitating overtaking. These changes are welcome, especially after recent criticism about the difficulty of overtaking on some circuits. However, the success of these innovations will depend on how well teams can integrate them with the new engines and energy systems. Conclusion: a new era of uncertainties and opportunities. The 2026 season represents a new chapter in Formula One, with changes that could redefine the grid hierarchy. Newey's view on the potential dominance of a manufacturer is a warning for the FIA and teams who will need to work to ensure competitiveness is maintained. On the other hand, the arrival of new brands like Audi, Cadillac, and Ford brings a breath of fresh air to the category, increasing interest from fans and sponsors. If the changes are well implemented, F1 could become more sustainable, balanced, and exciting. However, the risk of a team or manufacturer dominating the scene in the early years is real, and this could be both a challenge and an opportunity for the evolution of the sport. In summary, 2026 promises to be a year of revolutions, where engineering, strategy, and innovation will be tested like never before. And, as Newey rightly pointed out, engines will be the heart of this new era.